I haven't been out here for a week. I was here last Sunday. Last week there were terrible windstorms, and a tree broke off here and fell across my path. And that's my way out. I have a way to go around it, of course, so there's no problem with that, but it's just that eventually I'm going to have to come through here with a saw and a handsaw, mind you, and clean this up. It broke off of that branch there, and a higher branch way up there broke off. So two branches broke off the same tree. I think when the top one fell down, it broke off the bottom one, and that's why we have that stump there sticking out. Anyway, so I had expected, honestly, that this tree here that hangs way up there would fall down right onto my mound, and it will eventually one day, because it's filled with woodpecker holes, and the starlings are living in those holes, and the bats live in those holes, and they're always decomposing from inside. So eventually one day this tree will fall, and I just hope I'm not here when it does. So it's been 2 weeks since I filmed this tomato plant. I pruned everything off the bottom. It was starting to get a bit of blight. You can see some possible blight on this leaf here, so only thing I can really do is pinch off what's turning and hope that the rest of the plant doesn't get affected. I had some tomato plants that were about this big last year. I guess I went away for a week and I came back and they were completely fallen over and dead because of blight. So I don't know. It grows really well, but blight might be catching up. So that's why I took out the bottom stuff and kind of cleared away the plants a little bit from the bottom. Not very much apparently, because it looks like they've already sprung back up, but this one is doing okay. We have our 4 first tomato fruits here growing. There's some more flowers. And this one has stayed small, probably because it doesn't get much sun. I have slugs everywhere, and I haven't bothered to pick them off today. I probably can see 1, 2, 3 slugs right now. Anyway, just to show you the other tomato plants, I'll show you this one. This one was not doing well. It was very dry. Looks like a pumpkin's going to run into it here. So here is my Hugelkultur jungle. And walking forward here, we have straight ahead of me the next tomato plant. It has fruit down low, it has some fruit up high. All the other plants are kind of mobbing this poor tomato plant. I didn't tie up one part of it that's fallen off to the side there. I guess I didn't see that, or it grew really fast. So I'm going to have to tie that up and maybe prune some of the stuff off the bottom to hope to prevent blight. But anyway, this one is in full sun and it's growing quite a lot too, as you can see. These pumpkins started down here and have grown up the top and are going over and are starting to go up the pole on the lattice. I'm afraid my pumpkins are going to be too heavy for my little wimpy yarn lattice. So I bought some heavier twine, and hopefully if I come out here often enough I can train the pumpkins to go along the twine instead of climbing higher, but they grow fast. So I'm not sure if I'll be able to keep up with that. And eventually I expect a pumpkin will destroy my lattice, my spiderweb lattice or climbing thing. So here's my first identified pumpkin that's growing. It is an actual pumpkin, and the second one on this vine is just about a foot away. So on this support of mine, I would like this pumpkin to form where it is and not fall down any further. So I plan to retrain this part of the vine here up over the other side of the pole, and maybe even tie it to that part so that this pumpkin will hang suspended in the air and mice will not chew into it. It'll be hanging in the air. I think that this will be strong enough to hold it, as long as the force keeps from this pull down and pulls down, it shouldn't collapse. But I think if I had a pumpkin hanging off this side, it might pull the whole thing out here and make the whole thing topple over. So I have to make sure that the force is centered over that support pole there. Anyway, my plan is working. I did not have to train this pumpkin plant to do much. I stuck this little twig here in the plastic cord stuff that I used to tie the thing together, and it was hanging down to here, and I managed to get one or two of these little tendrils wrapped around it, and when it was really low coming off of the Jerusalem artichoke, and I left it like that, and it trained itself up over the top. I didn't put it there. It did it itself, so that's great. Alright, gonna be a partially sunny, partially cloudy day. Lots and lots of male pumpkin flowers. I should probably do a little hunt here and see what else I can find. So about a week or two after I was helped to identify these as broad beans, the slugs also have identified them and decided that they are good food and have started to eat the broad beans. So that's kind of disappointing, but they've only got 2 of the beans so far. I've tied up a bit more cord because I think the pumpkin is going to put a lot of force on this side here, so I can't really move the pumpkin too much because it wants to go this way. And so I've decided to do that and let the pumpkin come up, and hopefully it'll hit this and this and this, and it will be nice and stretchy and springy for the pumpkin. The pumpkin's tendrils are all climbing up here. Make sure it latches on nicely. Here's my jungle for the day. Looks pretty. It's choked. I could probably go through and weed out a lot of this mustard. I don't imagine myself collecting the mustard myself. I guess I could. Whatever is still around by the end of the season, I will try to do that, but there's so much of it. Maybe that's good. I have a crop of mustard, and there should be a small crop of buckwheat as well by the time this is all finished. But I want the other things to grow. If I harvested everything at the end of the year and it fed me for 2 weeks, I'd be pleased. I'm not really going for production here. I'm rather going for the permaculture aspect, which is Jerusalem artichokes, the rhubarb, hazelnut bushes, horseradish, blueberry bushes, raspberry bushes, the mint, and the other mint, the blackberries, and let me see, I guess I'm in the thistle business these days. Look at these thistles. They attract a lot of bees, so, and a lot of other insects too, a lot of butterflies too. I saw butterflies this morning, but you can see a honeybee over there on one of those right now. So I didn't have the heart to chop this down, and besides, it's not one of the really pokey thistles. It doesn't hurt me, even barehanded. It kind of just folds over. If you hit yourself just right, it might hurt. So next time I film, I imagine this pumpkin will have gone crazy and gone up at least as high as that stick and tried to destroy my entire thing. So we'll see what happens. I think that's kale, but again, it could end up being something silly like broccoli that I don't remember planting there. I certainly didn't try to plant anything there, so that's interesting. It must have come over on the back of a slug or a snail somehow. The seed must have stuck to it and brought it over here, because I did not put anything there like that. I put mustard seed here and amaranth, but I don't see any amaranth growing. The amaranth I saw growing got chewed down by the slugs. In fact, I think on the whole mound right now I've only identified one true amaranth growing. Cucumbers and corn right next to each other. There's another tomato plant growing in with the weeds. What an amazing overgrown jungle. I just walk around and I can't stop looking at how incredible it is that it's growing. Let's look at the other stuff. This is not mine, this is all wild, so let's have a slow look at the wild stuff. I helped train this one up here though. This is the, here's the vine of the Mara plant, which I thought was a pumpkin. It looked just like a pumpkin when it sprouted. That Mara, or wild cucumber, has gone up in the tree about 15 feet, and it's a big long vine. It's way up there. Kind of wish that was a pumpkin. That would be cool to have pumpkins hanging out of a tree like that. I just noticed some more wind damage, so I will get some more light through this tree. Haha! Blessing in disguise. So that tree there has broken its branch. I will get that saw blade, or that saw, the hand saw, and turn some of this into good firewood. This is my, as I call it now, the lawn, because it's where I've mowed. I never got this stuff mowed down last time because my other cable snapped. I could get that thing fixed and do some this morning, I guess. But this wall of weeds does help people not see me from the other side of the river. It's well over my head now. It protects the garden. The only thing you'd see from the other side is just the tips of the yarn. This is just wild junk. It's a big mess of whatever this weed is. Now, please somebody help me identify what wild weed this is. I use this to wash my hands. It has some very pretty flowers on the top. Very, very pretty flowers. Really, really pretty flowers. They make the seed pods that pop in your hand. When you touch them, they explode and they send little black seeds flying, like a little bean. They're filled with water. I use these all the time for washing my hands. I showed you one before, but that's the inside. You can see just, oh, gross, it just squirted me in the eye. But you, it hasn't poisoned me yet, so I don't think it's going to hurt me. But I just use the plant squished down because it really does have a lot of water in it, and I don't have a stream here. I have a filthy little pond back there. So these plants clean my hands. I use the leaves as the towel, and I use the main stuff as washing material. Here are the sections of them below. They grow these knobby things, sections kind of like bamboo. And here's a big one that I destroyed earlier. That is just massive. To give you an idea, it's like a big, giant celery stick. Just massive. So, what are these plants? It must be slug mating season. Right here is another red slug trailing another red slug. Or maybe it's brown, I'm not sure what color they are, I'm colorblind. Point being, the bigger one's definitely chasing the smaller one. Coming right down. Maybe they're friends somehow. Who knows if slugs can be friends?